Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Why do some people always seem to have more than enough money, while others never seem to get ahead, no matter how hard they try? What if financial freedom isn't about luck, background, or being born into the right family, but about following a few overlooked rules? Today, you're about to discover the 7 money rules that made Rohn wealthy. Rules that most people ignore, but you don't have to. Let's start with the first and most powerful principle. This might sound obvious at first, but here's the truth. Common sense is rarely common practice. Most people operate in reverse. They spend more than they earn, and then wonder why their finances always feel like a sinking ship. But once I understood this rule deeply, everything changed. There are only 2 ways to have more money in your life: earn more or spend less. That's it. No fancy loopholes. No secret investment trick. Just this: increase your income or reduce your expenses. Now, most people only focus on cutting back. They clip coupons, chase discounts, skip small indulgences, all in an effort to save a few extra dollars. And yes, managing your spending is important. We'll talk about that later. But if you truly want to build wealth, cutting back isn't where the real magic happens. Here's the truth. You can only save so much, but there's virtually no limit to how much you can earn. Your income potential is directly tied to your skills, your creativity, your ability to serve, and the value you bring to others. That's why the smartest move isn't to just budget tighter. It's to become more valuable to the marketplace. Ask yourself, what can I do to earn more tomorrow than I do today? How can I serve more people, solve bigger problems, create more value? I started out making $57 a week as a stock clerk. That was my beginning. But it wasn't my end, because I learned how to grow my value. And so can you. But I didn't stay in that $57 a week job. I kept asking myself a powerful question. How can I become more valuable? That question became the fuel for everything that came next. I started investing in my education, developing my communication skills, learning from mentors, and consistently looking for ways to serve at a higher level. And just like that, as my value increased, so did my income. Here's a principle that changed my life forever. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because if you work hard on your job, you might make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you can build a fortune. That's not just motivation, it's math. Your income is directly tied to the value you bring to the marketplace. So if you want to earn more, the formula is simple: become more valuable. But here's a warning. Don't fall into the common trap of thinking that earning more simply means working longer hours. That's a mindset that keeps people stuck in the grind. It's how the poor and middle class operate. The wealthy, they see it differently. They understand it's not about working more. It's about working smarter. It's about leveraging your time, your expertise, your systems, and even the help of others. Wealth creation is not about exhaustion. It's about intelligent contribution. So, shift your focus. Start building rare and valuable skills. Become someone who solves meaningful problems. When you become indispensable, wealth has a funny way of finding its way to you. Now, let's talk about rule number 2. Spend like a poor person, invest like a rich person. This is the part where so many people lose momentum. They start earning more, but their spending increases just as fast, if not faster. They have nothing left to show for it. And in many cases, they end up worse off, buried in debt. Let me share a story that still sticks with me. Early in my career, I met a janitor, yes, a janitor, who had quietly built a small fortune. His income wasn't impressive, but his habits were. He lived simply, avoided debt, and invested every extra dollar with purpose. Over time, that quiet discipline made him one of the wealthiest people I knew. How did that janitor quietly build wealth while high-earning professionals around him struggled? The answer lies in rule number 2. He understood it perfectly. Live far below your means and invest the difference. While many people chase the illusion of success with flashy lifestyles, buying luxury homes, driving fancy cars, wearing designer clothes, and taking extravagant vacations, the janitor chose a different path. I've seen doctors, lawyers, even CEOs making six-figure incomes who still live paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because they spent everything they earned, and more, trying to impress people they didn't even like. The janitor, in contrast, lived in a modest home. He drove a simple, reliable car. He dressed well, but affordably. He enjoyed vacations, but nothing extravagant. The key difference? He consistently invested the money he didn't spend. Year after year, quietly, patiently, he built real wealth. You see, wealth isn't about what you earn. It's about what you keep, and even more importantly, how you use what you keep. That's the real secret. So here's the rule. Live below your means. Pay yourself first. Before rent, before groceries, before bills, set aside money for your future. Start with a percentage you can handle. If 10% sounds like too much, begin with 5% or even 1%. What matters most is building the habit. As your income grows, increase your saving rate. Eventually, aim to invest at least 25% of what you earn. But here's a crucial point. Don't just save your money. Invest it. Make your money work for you. Let your dollars become employees that never sleep. The poor work for money. The rich let money work for them. Understand this. Compound interest is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. He said, "He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it." Let me paint a picture. If you invest just $100 per month from age 25 to 65, earning a 10% average annual return, you'd retire with over $640,000. That's not magic, it's math. And it all starts with discipline and a simple rule. Spend less than you earn and invest the rest. But if you delay starting until you're 35, your nest egg shrinks dramatically. You'd end up with only about $226,000. That's more than $400,000 lost, simply because you waited. And what made the difference? Compound interest. That quiet, powerful force needs time to work its magic. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow. So don't wait. Don't tell yourself you'll begin next month or when you're finally making enough. Start with what you have, right where you are. Even small amounts invested consistently can become massive over time. And remember, investing isn't about predicting the market. It's not about buying low and selling high. It's about timing the market, not timing the market. The most successful investors aren't those who make the perfect trades. They're the ones who start early, stay consistent, and stick with it through the ups and downs. Now let's talk about rule number 3. Master the art of delayed gratification. This rule, while simple in concept, is one of the most difficult to live by in a world where everything is available instantly. Think about it. How often do people opt for the quick pleasure rather than the bigger reward down the road? Let me pose a question. Would you rather have $1,000 today or $10,000 a year from now? Most people jump at the $1,000. But those who understand true wealth building would wait. They know that patience, compounded over time, leads to exponential results. Wealthy individuals are willing to do what others won't today, so they can enjoy what others can't tomorrow. They embrace a few years of sacrifice to unlock a lifetime of freedom. That's not about deprivation. It's about making clear, intentional decisions that serve your long-term vision. It means asking yourself, do I really need that brand new phone, or can my current one serve me just fine another year? Do I need to eat out 3 times a week, or can I cook at home and invest the difference? Do I really need a new car, or is my current one still reliable and road ready? These may seem like small, even insignificant choices, but over time, they compound just like your investments. And that's where freedom is built, in the everyday, often invisible decisions that most people overlook. These may seem like small decisions in the moment, but over time, they build a powerful foundation. Every dollar saved by delaying gratification can be invested, multiplying quietly in the background. Let me share a quick story from my own early journey. Back then, many of my peers were upgrading their lifestyles, buying luxury cars, moving into spacious homes, spending freely to signal their success. I made a different choice. I drove an old, reliable car and lived in a modest apartment. Instead of spending, I funneled that money into my education and the foundation of my business. Was it easy? Not always. There were moments I felt the pull of comparison, watching others enjoy what looked like success. But I stayed focused, and years later, those early sacrifices produced results that far exceeded any short-term pleasure. Now, don't get me wrong. This doesn't mean you should deny yourself all enjoyment. Life is meant to be lived, to be celebrated. But the secret is timing. Learn to enjoy the right things at the right time. Spend consciously, not compulsively. The goal is to enjoy your money in a way that doesn't jeopardize your future security or freedom. Here's something practical you can apply immediately. Before making a big purchase, pause and ask yourself, is this moving me closer to or further away from my financial goals? If the answer is further away, take a step back. If it's neutral or moves you forward, then consider it carefully. Always remember, financial freedom isn't about indulging in everything today. It's about creating a future where you have options. It's about living on your terms, free from financial pressure, free to say yes to what really matters. So, master delayed gratification. Learn to say no today so you can say yes to something far greater tomorrow. Now, let's move to rule number 4. Understand and harness the power of income streams. This principle is one of the most impactful in the journey to true wealth. It's not just about what you earn from your job. It's about creating multiple ways for money to flow into your life. Did you know the average millionaire has not 1, not 2, but 7 streams of income? Most people rely on just one source of income, their job. But have you ever stopped to consider how risky that really is? Think about it. If that one income stream disappears, whether it's from a job loss, a business shutdown, or even an industry shift, you could be left in a financially devastating position. That's not just inconvenient. That's dangerous. Now, compare that with someone who has multiple streams of income. If one stream slows down or disappears entirely, the others continue flowing. That's the beauty of diversification. It brings peace of mind, financial resilience, and a greater opportunity to build lasting wealth. So, what exactly are these different types of income streams? Generally speaking, there are 7. 1. Earned income, the paycheck you receive from a job or business. 2. Profit income, from buying and selling, like flipping products or running a store. 3. Interest income, money earned from lending out capital. 4. Dividend income, earnings from owning shares in companies. 5. Rental income, from owning and leasing property. 6. Royalty income, from intellectual property like books or music. 7. Capital gains, profit from the appreciation of investments or assets over time. You don't have to develop all 7 streams overnight. It's not a race. Start with what you already have, likely your earned income, and build from there. Begin to ask yourself, how can I create another flow of money that doesn't rely entirely on my time? Let me give you a real example from my own journey. I started with earned income from my regular job. Then I began selling products on the side, which introduced profit income. Eventually, as my knowledge and influence grew, I began writing books and giving talks. This brought in royalty income. From there, I ventured into real estate for rental income and invested in businesses that paid dividends. Each stream didn't start large. But over time, as I nurtured them, they grew stronger. And here's what's most important. They began generating income even when I wasn't actively working. That's when things started to change. That's when financial freedom moves from theory to reality, when your money works harder than you do. But let me clarify something essential. Building multiple streams doesn't mean piling on more and more work. It means learning to create and deliver value in ways that continue to pay off. For example, writing a book or creating a course might take significant effort once, but it can generate royalties for years. That's the power of smart leverage. So if you're still relying on a single paycheck, it might be time to ask, what other streams of income could I start building today? Let's take real estate as an example. When you purchase a property, the real work happens up front. You research the market, secure the financing, prepare the home, and find tenants. But once everything is in place, that property can generate rental income month after month, often for years, sometimes even decades. You're no longer trading hours for dollars. You're letting an asset work for you. That's the difference between active income, where you constantly have to show up and clock in to get paid, and passive income, where money continues to flow whether you're working or on vacation. Of course, this kind of freedom doesn't come overnight. It requires commitment, patience, and often a significant initial investment. But without a doubt, it's one of the most reliable paths to lasting financial independence. So ask yourself, how can you start creating new income streams in your own life? Do you have skills you can teach? A product you can create? Property you can rent? An idea that can generate royalties? What untapped opportunities are already within your reach, just waiting to be developed? Remember, the goal isn't just to increase how much you earn. It's to build systems that keep earning even when you're not actively working. That's the magic of having multiple income streams. Each one becomes another step toward financial freedom. Now, let's move on to rule number 5. Become financially literate. This one is critical, and unfortunately, it's where many people fall short. Financial literacy is the ability to understand and apply financial principles in real life. It means knowing how to manage your money, how to budget, how to invest, and how to make informed financial decisions that move you forward. Think about this. How many people graduate from school without ever learning how credit works, what interest rates mean, or how to file taxes? It's shocking, really. Even highly educated professionals sometimes have no clue how money truly works. They may earn a high income, but poor decisions and lack of financial understanding keep them living paycheck to paycheck. Without financial literacy, your chances of achieving long-term wealth drop dramatically. So if you're serious about financial freedom, you need to master the language of money. Learn what terms like assets, liabilities, cash flow, dividends, compound interest, and capital gains actually mean, not just on paper, but in real life. These aren't just textbook definitions. They're the concepts that shape your financial destiny. And don't stop there. Dive into understanding how different investment vehicles work. Familiarize yourself with stocks, real estate, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. You don't need to become a financial advisor or expert trader, but you do need a solid working knowledge of these tools so you can make smart, strategic choices with your money. Also, take time to understand how the tax system works. Why? Because taxes are one of your biggest lifetime expenses, and the wealthy know how to legally minimize them through knowledge and planning. Why shouldn't you? Most people look at the tax code as a confusing mess of rules, but in reality, it's a map of incentives. Governments use taxes to encourage specific behaviors and discourage others. Once you understand this, everything changes. You realize that with the right knowledge, you can legally and ethically reduce your tax burden and keep more of your hard-earned income. You don't need to be a CPA or a financial planner to benefit from this. But you do need to understand enough to ask smart questions, spot bad advice, and make confident decisions. Having a good accountant or advisor is important, but don't blindly hand over your financial future. At the end of the day, no one will ever care about your money more than you do. I still remember when I first started diving into financial education. It felt like I was stepping into a different language. Charts, terms, systems I'd never encountered before. I was intimidated, even overwhelmed. But I made a decision. I would learn just a little bit every day. One page at a time. One seminar. One podcast. One conversation with someone smarter than me. And slowly, things started to click. I began to understand how money works. Not just how to make it, but how to keep it, grow it, and protect it. And the best part? As my knowledge increased, so did my confidence. My decisions became more strategic. My results more consistent. The truth is, the more I learned, the more I earned. That's why I challenge you right now. Make financial literacy a personal mission. Read one finance book every month. Listen to podcasts that challenge the way you think about money. Enroll in a course, even if it's just a short one. Sit down with someone who's built real wealth and ask questions. The point isn't to become a financial expert. It's to become financially empowered. Because knowledge, when applied, becomes a tool. And in this case, it becomes a tool for wealth. Now, let's move on to rule number 6. Build and guard your financial fortress. This rule isn't just about how to make money. It's about how to protect it. Because let's face it, life is unpredictable. Economies crash, emergencies arise, opportunities vanish overnight. So if you're not prepared, even a strong income can vanish in an instant. Think of your wealth like a fortress. You work hard to build it, brick by brick. But what good is a beautiful castle if one storm can wash it away? That's why the first step is to protect against known risks, the ones we can anticipate. This part of your financial fortress begins with protection against the known risks. Those life events we hope never happen, but must be prepared for. Think about it. Illness, injury, disability, untimely death, lawsuits, and property damage. These are real threats, and fortunately, there's a clear way to guard against them: insurance. Make sure you're covered. That means solid health insurance, in case medical bills come out of nowhere. Disability insurance, in case you're unable to work. Life insurance, especially if someone depends on your income. Property and liability insurance, to protect your home, your car, and yourself. These aren't just monthly expenses, they're investments in your financial survival. I remember hearing about a businessman who thought he was saving money by skipping insurance. He was young, successful, and healthy, or so he thought. But then a major health issue hit out of the blue. The hospital bills drained his savings and forced him to sell his company at a fraction of its worth. What he saved in premiums ended up costing him everything. Don't make that mistake. Protect yourself against what you already know can go wrong. But that's only the first layer of defense. Next, you need to prepare for the unknown, the risks you can't predict. That's where diversification comes in. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. Spread your investments across asset classes: stocks, bonds, real estate, maybe even businesses or commodities. Diversify across industries and even across countries if possible. Why? Because markets are unpredictable. I've seen people lose everything because they were heavily invested in just one area. One person put all their savings into real estate right before the housing market crashed. Another bet everything on their company's stock, only to watch it plummet when the company failed. Diversification won't eliminate losses, but it acts like shock absorbers in a financial storm. It reduces the impact when one part of your portfolio takes a hit. It gives you the stability to stay in the game long enough to win. And don't forget one of your strongest shields: your emergency fund. Life doesn't always give warnings. Jobs can vanish, medical emergencies can strike, major expenses can blindside you. Having liquid cash, enough to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses, gives you options. If your income is unstable or you're self-employed, consider saving even more. Cash might not earn much in interest, but its value lies in flexibility. Finally, let's talk about the silent enemies of wealth. They're not flashy, but they're dangerous. Debt, inflation, taxes, and your own emotions. Debt, especially consumer debt, is one of the fastest ways to sabotage your financial growth. It's like a leak in your boat. You might be sailing forward, but eventually, it drags you under. Avoid debt that buys you liabilities. Instead, if you must use debt, let it be for strategic reasons, like investing in assets that generate returns. Inflation, on the other hand, is a slow erosion of your purchasing power. Every year, your money buys less if it isn't growing. That's why investing isn't optional. It's a necessity if you want to stay ahead. And taxes? Learn how to work with them, not against them. Leverage the tax code's incentives to legally reduce your burden and keep more of what you earn. But perhaps the trickiest enemy of all is you, your emotions. Fear, greed, impatience. They can cause you to make impulsive decisions, abandon plans, or chase trends. Wealth isn't just a numbers game. It's a mindset game. You have to master your behavior just as much as your budget. Coming up next, we'll dive into the final rule that ties everything together. The mindset that sustains wealth once you've built it. Ready to continue? Protecting your wealth from inflation begins with smart investing. Inflation slowly erodes the value of your money, so you need to place it where it can grow faster than prices rise. Assets like stocks, real estate, and select commodities have historically outpaced inflation over the long term. These aren't just options. They're necessities for preserving your purchasing power. Then there's taxes. If you're not careful, taxes can quietly chip away at everything you've built. But the good news is this. The tax code isn't just about taking your money. It's also full of incentives designed to reward certain financial behaviors. When you understand how taxes work, you can legally and ethically reduce your tax burden. That means more of your hard-earned income stays with you, where it belongs. But perhaps the most underestimated threat to your wealth is also the most personal, your own emotions. Fear during a market dip, greed when investments are soaring, impatience when results take time. These emotional reactions have led many people to make poor decisions that undid years of progress. That's why it's essential to develop and follow a sound financial plan. One that's built on principles, not headlines. One that you stick to regardless of the latest economic buzz or market volatility. Because building wealth isn't just about accumulating a specific dollar amount. It's about shaping a mindset, a way of thinking that empowers you to not only create wealth, but to protect it, grow it, and ultimately pass it on. Which leads us to the final rule. Rule number 7, give generously and create a legacy. This is the part where wealth transforms from something you have to something you do. True wealth isn't just about what you accumulate. It's about what you contribute. It's not about how much you hold on to, but about how much you let flow through you to help others. Giving is more than charity. It's a mindset that completes the wealth-building journey. Because when you give your time, your money, your knowledge, you're not just changing someone else's life. You're changing your own. You begin to live from a place of abundance instead of scarcity. You connect with purpose, and you step into a version of yourself that's bigger than numbers and bank accounts. I've met countless successful individuals over the years, and I've noticed a pattern. The ones who were truly happy, fulfilled, and at peace with their wealth weren't the ones who had the most toys. They were the ones who gave the most freely. They discovered that real joy isn't in what you have. It's in what you give. And giving doesn't always mean writing checks. It can mean mentoring someone who's just starting out. It might be volunteering your time, sharing hard-earned wisdom, or making introductions that open doors for others. It's about using your resources, whatever they are, to leave people better than you found them. I encourage you to make giving an intentional, consistent part of your financial life. Just as you set aside money for savings and investments, set aside a portion of your income specifically for generosity. Start with 10% if you can. But if that feels like too much at the beginning, no problem. Start with 5% or even just 1%. The exact percentage matters far less than building the habit itself. What matters most is consistency. As your income increases, you can raise the percentage over time. But the habit of giving, done regularly and purposefully, has the power to shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance. It reminds you that wealth is not just something to keep, but something to share. And when you give, you don't just create a momentary impact. You plant seeds for the future. Because giving isn't just about what you do in the present. It's also about what you leave behind. It's about creating a legacy that continues long after your lifetime. Maybe that legacy comes in the form of a scholarship fund that changes the life of a student you'll never meet. Maybe it's a charitable foundation that reflects your values and supports causes you care about. Or maybe it's something as personal as raising your children to understand the value of money and the joy of giving back. Legacy also shows up in the work you do. You might build a business that outlives you, one that continues to serve its community and provide jobs for future generations. Or perhaps your impact will be through your creative efforts. A book, a piece of art, a message that educates, uplifts, and endures. True legacy isn't just measured in dollars or possessions. It's measured in the lives you've touched, the values you've modeled, and the principles you pass on. So I invite you to go beyond simply accumulating wealth. Think deeply about how you want that wealth to matter. Ask yourself, what kind of impact do I want to have? What do I want people to remember me for? What values do I want to live by and pass down? These are powerful questions, and the answers you find will guide not only your financial decisions, but the direction of your entire life. They give your wealth purpose. They give it meaning that goes far beyond the numbers in your bank account. And here's the remarkable part. When you focus on building a legacy that matters, you often achieve far more than you ever would by focusing solely on money. Why? Because you're no longer fueled by a shallow desire for accumulation. You're driven by something deeper, something rooted in meaning, impact, and legacy. You're guided by the desire to leave a mark, to make a difference that outlives you. And that, more than anything, is the heart of true financial freedom. It's not merely about having enough money to live comfortably or to indulge in pleasures. It's about having enough resources to fulfill your calling, to do the work you were meant to do, to serve others in a meaningful way, and to live with clarity and intention. That's what this journey has been about. That's the essence of financial freedom. So as we come to the conclusion of this message, let's briefly revisit the path we've explored together. We've talked about earning substantially more than you spend, about living below your means, and investing wisely. We've discussed the power of delayed gratification and how it separates those who struggle from those who thrive. We've looked at the necessity of building multiple streams of income and the life-changing value of financial literacy. We covered the importance of constructing a financial fortress to protect what you've built. And finally, we ended with perhaps the most important principle of all, giving generously and creating a legacy. These 7 rules aren't theoretical concepts. They're practical, time-tested, and profoundly effective. Together, they form a clear roadmap to financial freedom. Simple? Yes. But easy? Not always. They require more than knowledge. They require discipline, daily commitment, and the courage to live differently in a world obsessed with quick wins and constant consumption. But here's what I can promise you. The rewards are real, and they're not just measured in dollars. They're measured in peace of mind, in the freedom to make decisions based on purpose, not pressure, in the joy of helping others, and the confidence of knowing you're living a life aligned with your values. So let me leave you with this final reflection. Financial freedom is not a single milestone you check off once and never revisit. It's an ongoing journey, a mindset, a way of living, and a way of giving. It's about choosing growth over comfort, intention over impulse, and purpose over possessions. Stay committed, stay consistent, and remember, the real reward isn't just the wealth you build, it's the life you create with it. It's not just a goal, it's a lifestyle, a mindset, a collection of daily habits and intentional decisions that build upon each other day after day. And here's the most empowering truth. Financial freedom is not reserved for a chosen few. It's available to anyone, yes, anyone, who is willing to learn, grow, and apply these principles consistently. It doesn't matter where you're starting from, how much you currently earn, or even how old you are. What matters is that you start. What truly matters is the commitment you make to these principles and to yourself starting today. I often hear people say things like, I'll start saving once I earn more, or I'll begin investing when the market calms down, or even I'll study finances when life slows down. But the truth is, those are just delays wrapped in good intentions. The best time to begin was years ago. The second best time is right now. Just like planting a tree, growth begins the moment you decide to take action. So don't wait for the stars to align. Don't wait for the perfect moment because it doesn't exist. Don't wait until you feel completely ready because you never truly will. Start with what you know. Start with what you have. Learn as you go. Progress, not perfection, is what matters. You don't need to master all 7 rules overnight. Choose one, apply it, make a habit, then build from there. Layer by layer, habit by habit, you'll create a foundation that not only transforms your finances, but your life. Because in the end, financial freedom isn't just about accumulating wealth. It's about creating a life of purpose, of freedom, and of meaning. It's about having the power and resources to become the person you were meant to be, and to leave an impact on the world that reaches far beyond your bank account. So let me ask you this. What's your next step? Which rule will you begin to implement today? Because remember, knowledge by itself isn't power. It's only potential power. Knowledge applied. That's where transformation begins. So take what you've learned and take action. Begin your journey to financial freedom, not someday, but now. Your future is being shaped by the decisions you make today. Thank you for spending your time with me. It's been an honor to share these principles with you. Wishing you strength, good health, and true happiness on your journey ahead. And don't forget, if you found value in this, subscribe to Mindset Daily for more empowering insights and tools to help you live your best life.